Start.
South. Suti said, the great souled royal sage and lord of earth, Janmajay, the son of Parikshit, organized a snake sacrifice.
What would the deeper meaning of snake sacrifice be? What would the deeper meaning of what do snakes signify? Desire. Desire, and what do we call desire in Sanskrit? Calm. Calm, and so snakes will also, what do you call, uh, uh, signify desire and desire and calm, sex energy, right? So sex energy and desire is connected, right? Desire and sex energy is connected. So snakes signify sex energy, they signify desire, right? Snakes, the patterns which lie in the subconscious mind, in the unconscious mind, those patterns which interfere with our lives, uh, those patterns, right? So they are also signified by snakes, right? So most of the patterns, they are locked with desire. So whenever we those patterns unravel themselves, they start expressing themselves, they do so in the form of a snake. So snake sacrifice, the sacrifice of desire, right? The sacrifice of transforming and transmutating sex energy, right?
There, in his presence, Vaishampayan recited properly the wonderful and sacred stories composed by Krishna Dvaipayan.
Krishna Dvaipayan. Krishna Dvaipayan is the what you call Ved Vyas. Ved Vyas is the author of the Mahabharat. Right? Krishna means black. Dvaipayan means born on an island. He was born on an island. Actually, you should visit the island. It's just a few kilometers from here in the Narmada. Right? So it's called as Vyas Bait. The story goes that what do you call the Rishi Parashar wanted to cross the river. Parashar is the father of all Vedic astrology, the original Rishi. And there was this boatswoman who was Satyavati. Satyavati later becomes Shantanu's wife, right? The father of Bhishma. So he asked her to take him across. As they were going across, he saw that in astrological, what do you call, uh, moment in time, that this yoga will never come again in the history of mankind. This yoga will never come again when all the planets are degreically at their point of exaltation. Degreically at their point of exaltation, which is impossible. It is an impossible combination. But he saw that it was at that time. And so this young girl, who the boatswoman who was with him, taking him across. And so he, what do you call, there was a meeting between the boatswoman and the rishi, and the child was Vyas, Ved Vyas. Ved Vyas was born on that island, and within a few seconds, he grew up to be a grown man, right? And he went into the jungle to do sadhana, right? So Vyas is the son of Parashar Muni, right? Vyas means one who is sitting in a special asana, one who is sitting in a special asana. Vyas, to sit, us to sit, Vyas એટલે વિશેષ રીતે, in a special way, right? Which asana is he sitting in? Where he can see the past, present, and future all together. You can see the past, present, and future all together. Vyas also means the diameter of a circle. So if you're sitting on this side of the circle, you can see this side of the circle. You can see what is across in time, right? So that son Vyas, that is why his Vyas is known as Krishna, the black, Dvaipayan, born on an island, the black one, born on an island, right? And he's the author of the Mahabharat. He's the author of all the Vedas, right? The Puranas, etc. And it was his disciple, Vaishampayan. I haven't found the exact meaning of Vaishampayan, but it means to be huge, something of that sort, right? Where there's an expanding consciousness. And his disciple made many changes in the Vedas, right? And especially he composed different parts of the Yajurveda, and that is his disciple Vaishampayan. So this Soti, who is reciting this to Shaunak and to others, he is saying that I had gone to the snake sacrifice of Janmajay, and there Vaishampayan, that is the disciple of Vyas, recited the Mahabharata, and what he told me, I'm going to tell you. Yeah.
What is the meaning of the word Parashar? Rishi Parashar.
That also I have not gone into.
Okay.
I'll have to see.
Fine.
Right?
Is it related to Parajay?
Huh?
Could it be related to Parajay?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Par would be something to do with beyond. And I don't know, but that which sure means that beyond that which can be destroyed, something of that sort it would come. But I'll have to see. I would know. That which decays. Anything you're getting from the meaning? Question? આશય પરાશર શર એટલે ક્ષય થવું ને શર એટલે જે વસ્તુ ડીકે થાય છે એની બિયોન્ડ છે એવું કદાચ હોઈ શકે એવું માનું છું.
After listening to those diverse stories of the Mahabharat, I wandered among several places of pilgrimage and sacred waters.
So this Sote is saying, this son of Lomaharshan, that after listening to those stories, he must have been in a very elevated state. After listening to those stories, and I mean, he could not believe what he had heard, and so he roamed around in different places. He roamed around in different places.
I finally came to the sacred place known as Samant Panchak.
So he came to Samanta Panchak. This is, later it was known as Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra, the Kshetra of doing. So Samanta Panchak. Samant means where the ends meet, or that which is being extended all the time. Panchak is 5 lakes. These 5 lakes were what you all created by the blood of the Kshatriyas, which Parshuram killed. Parshuram, 21 times he destroyed the Kshatriyas in the earth. And with the blood of the Kshatriyas he destroyed, 5 lakes were created over here. And these 5 lakes are very, very, what do you call, pure, in the sense they're sacred. So on a eclipse day, if you go to have a, what do you call, bath in these lakes, then all your sins are washed away. Samanta Panchak, right? And it is said that Krishna Bhagwan on a day of the eclipse came to have a what do you call bath over here. And the story goes because Vyas also after the Mahabharata he wrote what is called the Bhagavad, the Bhagavad Puran. And the story goes that after Krishna left, what do you call, huh? What? No, he left Vrindavan for Mathura. He never came back, and the gopis never saw him again. But they say that on this day they had come to Samanta Panchak, and they did not meet him, but they saw him from far away. The gopis saw him from far away. So it's a very holy place. It is in, I think, Haryana, I think, the Samanta Panchak, the 5 lakes.
So can we briefly touch upon Parshuram and killing the Kshatriyas so many times? Why did he do that?
Shru means to tear, to kill. The axe which kills. Ram of the axe which kills. Right? And he found that the Kshatriyas had lost their way. They had lost their way. Instead of protecting society, they were like today's ministers, enjoying society. Right? What do you call stealing from society. And they were indulged in all kinds of what you call pleasures of the senses, right? And they had forgotten their main purpose was to save society. So he killed them 21 times, right? Yeah. That's the story. 21 times he went about and killed the, why 21? I don't know actually why 21, but he did.
Seven threes are 21.
Yeah, 7 threes are 21. But
it must be that.
Huh?
Must be that.
Could be. Yeah.
Samant Panchak, venerated by the twice born.
So even the twice born, those who have killed their ego and been born again, those who have killed their ego, and twice born also has an ordinary meaning. A Brahmin is called twice born. That when he takes the janoi, he is twice born again. His ego dies and he is born again. But the deeper meaning of twice born is that the one whose ego is gone and the new soul is born inside, right? Twice born.
This is the land where, a long time ago, a war was fought between the Kurus and the Pandavas, and also all the kings of the earth.
So all the kings of the earth fought a war over here, the land of Kurukshetra.
After that, anxious to see you, I have come before you.
So first, after hearing everything, right, he travels to all these places, and then because he had heard of the great war, Mahabharat, he goes to Samanta Panchak and he has a dip in the holy waters there. And then he comes to this Naimish Aranya where all the sages are saying, and he is so full of all that he wants to recount the stories to the sages over there.
O revered sages, you shine like the fire of the sun in the sacred place of sacrifice.
So the inner spirit is like a sun, right? And that inner spirit is covered in what you call memory patterns. So once the inner memory patterns go away, the inner spirit shines like the sun, right? So he's telling these sages, you shine like the sun. You are free of all your bondage. You're free of all the memory patterns. You have broken all the bondage. He's telling them.
Son, in my view, you are like Brahma to me. You who are pure through having performed sacred rites and meditation, and you who maintain the fire of sacrifice.
You are like Brahma to me. Brahma is the expanding consciousness. which never stops expanding. Brahma is the seed of creativity, right? Which creates every moment. You go to create a garden, it is creativity. You arrange the table, it is creativity. Right? You take out your shoes properly outside, not the way we've taken out, then it is creativity. The way we've taken out doesn't show creativity. So everything in life can become Brahma, a creativity. Right? So to bring that creativity in your life, every moment of your life, that goes with an expanding consciousness. As we rise in consciousness, the uh, consciousness expands. There are two byproducts of consciousness. One is love, the other is creativity. Both are byproducts of consciousness. So next time we enter the hall, arrange the shoes properly and come in. Right. Okay. So he's saying, you shine like the fire of the sun in this sacred place of sacrifice. On this spiritual path, what do we sacrifice? On this spiritual path, what do we sacrifice? What is there to be sacrificed? Desire. The gross form, what do we sacrifice? What do you say?
The internet wasn't working, so they were just coming and fixing the internet, just working.
What is the gross thing we have to sacrifice? Ego is a very general term. Give me something to work with. Yeah, you know. You've heard all my talks. It's very easy. What did he say? What did he say? Suffering. Why suffering? Why do we have to sacrifice suffering? Why do we have to sacrifice suffering? All our suffering is? Yes, but all our suffering is personal. All our suffering is personal. I am suffering. Whether it is imaginary, right? All suffering is personal, right? You did not treat me well. You did not give me what I asked for, right? All suffering is personal. So, what is the ego? What is the ego? Personal, right? So, if you sacrifice your suffering, you're sacrificing the ego. You're sacrificing the ego, right? In 1992, Mr. Tawaria gave me an exercise, right? Don't take anything personally. How many of you can do the exercise? No one. No one. You all take everything personally, right? So everything you take personally has to be sacrificed. Otherwise, you'll never be free of the personal. Personal is ego, right? And I remember my son was 8, 9 months old, and he was in Madhavpur. I was in Bombay. So my wife phoned. He's got a very high temperature. You come for 2 days. So I went to him and I said that I have to go. My wife is calling me. He said, I told you not to take anything personal. Whose son are you talking about? Right? Very difficult to live with a master. Very difficult to live with a master. Right? He said, whose son are you talking about? Not to take anything personally. Right? Try it for 6 months. Try it for 6 months. Very difficult. Very, very difficult. Right? So, but we take everything personally. Everything personally. Right? Everything happened to poor old me. Everything happens to poor old me. And poor old me has to suffer. Right? So here He's saying you have sacrificed. What have you sacrificed? All your personal suffering. You have sacrificed all your personal suffering. In sacrificing all your personal suffering, you're free from the ego. There's no other way to be free from the ego. Absolutely no other way. Right? You have to sacrifice the personal because the personal is the ego. Right? Okay.
In my view, you
No,
are
no,
like
1 second. That where the sacrifice? Where was that? In this sacred place of sacrifice. This sacred place of sacrifice. This Naimisharanya, this sacred place. This forest where the eyes do not blink, where one cannot sleep, right? That sacred place of sacrifice, you are shining like the sun. You are pure and have performed the sacred rites and meditation, right? You have performed the sacred rites, you have invoked your presence, you're holding your presence, and you maintain the fire of sacrifice. Anything that leads you away from the presence, anything that leads you away from yoga, anything which leads you away from the divine, you sacrifice. So you hold that consciousness inside the fire of sacrifice. What is fire? What is fire? What is fire? See, there is the original light, which is the sun. The original light is the sun. And the reflected light is the moon. And the light created by man is, through his own effort, is fire. Fire. Right? So there are three kinds of light: the sun, the moon, fire. Fire is through conscious effort. So you're holding on to that conscious effort to keep this place pure, to shine like the sun, right? Where we light our little inner lamp of consciousness. That is the fire, right? Fire again in yoga is known as Sushumna, right? Ida is known as moon, Pingla is known as sun, and what you call Sushumna is known as fire, Agni, right? Agni.
oh you who are twice born.
Oh, you who are twice born, all of you all have destroyed your ego and you've been born again. You're twice born, right? Where is this ritual of twice born? One is the Janoi ceremony. In Christianity, where is the ritual of twice born? Baptism. Baptism. So before Christ came on the earth, John used to stand in the river Jordan and he would baptize people with the water. And he says, I baptize you with water, but the one who will baptize you with fire is still to be born. Is still to be born, right? So he would say, baptize you with water.
You are beyond all cares.
You are beyond all cares. Now we have two words, careless and carefree. Which one are we? What do our shoes say? Are we carefree or careless? To go to becoming carefree. We have to go to becoming carefree. The effort is to reach a stage where no stress, no tensions can touch us. We are carefree. That means we have taken all the responsibilities. We have not run away from any situation of stress. We have not run away from any situation of suffering, right? We are holding on to all the responsibilities of life and still we are carefree, right? The hippie is careless. The saint is carefree. Carefree. So this movement, it's a big journey from careless to carefree. Careless to carefree.
What shall I say? Shall I state the secret stories of the Purana?
We have another two words like that. Which are they? Careless and carefree. Which are the other words? In English? free sex and sex free. Free sex and sex free. Right? So, one thing is to believe in free sex, and the others to rise to a stage where you're free of sex. Right? Two different states. Two different states. Right? Free sex and sex free. Careless and care free. Right? Bolo. Yeah, go ahead.
There's one more word, Saab, like that. There's one more word like that. From nowhere and now here.
Huh?
Nowhere
Nowhere and now here.
and now here.
So if you're going nowhere, you're bound to reach your destination. And if you're now here, you're already at your
At your desk.
destination. Very good. Yeah.
What shall I say? Shall I state the sacred stories of the Puranas, the source of Dharma and Artha?
Wait, let me find this one sec. Yeah. Yeah. Shall I state the sacred stories of the.
Shall I speak of the history of kings among men and sages and great souls?
So he's asking, what should I recount? A bard has come and he's saying, what should I sing? What should I tell you? What stories would you like to hear? Right? So, in the old days, of course, there was no TV or anything. So, people like this would come and people would rejoice the whole night. They would take part in this, his singing and his stories and all that. Yeah. And he's saying sacred stories of the Puranas. Vyasji has written the 18 Puranas, the source of Dharma and Artha. What are the Puranas? The source of Dharma and Artha. Or should I speak of the history of kings? The whole Kshatriya clan, its history, its lineage, men and sages and great souls. What should I speak of?
The sages replied, tell us that ancient story that was told by the supreme sage Dvaipayan.
The supreme sage Dvaipayan. So tell us that, the ancient story. Right? So now we are going into a flashback. You see, he's telling the story. He's going to now tell the story of a story he heard at the snake sacrifice, which is the story of something which happened in ancient times with Parikshit's, fathers and his uncles and all that. Right? So here he's going into a flashback, but the flashback itself is a flashback. The flashback itself is a flashback. Now, why has Vyas chosen to, bring the Mahabharat to us in this way? Why has Vyas chosen to bring the Mahabharat? What happens in flashback? Is there a kind of living, not just words, when we have to use our minds to say this is a flashback? All viewing, is there a kind of re-experiencing in a flashback, as if something we've already experienced it, but now we are re-experiencing, going through it again? So the flashback takes us,
The flashback. Okay. The flashback is basically living in the past, right?
Is it?
Isn't it?
Little louder.
You asked why.
Or are you bringing the past into the sensitivity of the present moment?
Because we cherish our memories so much and we keep recounting those. We say, my fond memories. This happened that time. I did this with my friends. Or we went on a family vacation. When we live in the past, you said, why does Vyas talk about the flashback? maybe because this is my understanding, I could be wrong, because he is trying to tell us ki this is something that we cannot, this is something that is already there in us, and we
This
are
is-
already there in the past. So that's why he's recounting the past. Is it that?
Yeah, and what else?
It is because it is our, you just said from carefree, from careless to carefree. So, which means from the past to the present, right? So, we are constantly living in the past. The whole journey is to come to the present.
So sensitivity is always in the
Present.
present.
Yes.
Sensitivity is always in the
Present.
present.
Now, here.
So when you are recalling and reliving those events, they are happening to us now.
Now.
They
Yeah.
are happening to us in the
Now.
now. So this is a what do you call a technique of bringing the past into the present, reliving the past. But what is the deeper?
So, is it
uh,
that if I'm in the past, I'm not
supposing we
completely
connect it,
lost?
supposing we connect it to self-remembering.
Huh.
What is the deeper aspect of the whole? What do you call?
That maybe I am
Flashback
I
in
am in the
flashback.
present, but I am just visiting that place. I am in the present, knowing full well that I'm visiting that
I have
place.
to invoke something in the present,
Correct.
which I already am,
I'm okay.
which I already
Yes, I
am.
didn't have the words. Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I have to invoke something in the present moment, which I already
Am.
am.
Yes.
I don't have to become. Right? I don't have to become. It is already there. Only by dropping the becoming, it is. As long as I am in becoming, it cannot be.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you get it?
Yes,
So,
I do.
right.
This is easier. Thank you.
The English word for that is recognition. Cognize again. To recognize.
Yeah.
Another way to say self-remembering.
Yeah, but it depends on our power of recalling,
Correct.
how we can recall. Thank you. So we are not just retelling, we are reliving.
Living.
We are reliving. Now, just one thing, in the morning we had interpreted Lomharshan as erection of the hair. It is not this hair, it is this hair. Huh? This hair, when you are in a state of exclamation. Huh? This hair. In a state of surprise. One more thing. In terms of cause and event, cause and effect, sorry, not event, cause and effect, how would this process of recalling fit in over there? First of all, with our five senses in life, do we see causes or do we see effects? We see effects, right? The causes lie somewhere else, in another dimension of time and space. The causes lie in another dimension of. Now, when we recall something, when we are reliving something, we can sense what causes we sowed over there. This is my condition now. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? In that very reliving of the event, I may be able to see beyond the event, beyond the physical, what do you call, effects, and what did I do? What kind of seeds did I sow in that event that it is repeating in the now, or it is, what do you call, coloring my now in a certain way? Can you see? So suddenly the world of cause and effect opens up to us in this recalling. In the Mahabharat, there is a very famous part which is again, what do you call, flashback. Which is that?
The Gita.
Huh? Which one?
When Sanjay tells Dhritarashtra,
Yeah,
that's in the past. It's already happened.
exactly. Exactly. Right? So, uh, Sanjay is given the power to see. Right? For 10 days of the Mahabharat war, Dhritarashtra was not interested in seeing what is happening in the war. He was 100% sure we are going to win, because if Bhishma is on my side and he is the warrior with Ichha Mrityu, that means we are going to win. That's the end of the matter. Right? So on the 10th day, there is a news from the battlefield that Bhishma has fallen on a bed of arrows. And that was the first shock which came to Dhritarashtra. Till then he was sure that we were going to. So then he calls Sanjay and the beginning of the Gita. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsava mamakaha pandaveshchaiva kim akurvata Sanjaya. He calls Sanjay and he asks him that, oh Sanjay, on that battlefield of Kurukshetra, Dharma kshetre Kurukshetra, on that battlefield of Kurukshetra, Mamakaha, mine, Pandavesha, mine and the Pandavas, in that war between mine and the Pandavas. Kim akurvat, what is happening? Please tell me. And then Sanjay starts reciting the Bhagavad Gita, because at that moment, in the beginning of the battle, the first thing which happened was the Bhagavad Gita. So the Bhagavad Gita which Sanjay is telling Dhritarashtra, the one which we got, is 10 days old. We have not got the original which Krishna told to Arjun. We don't have the original. The original was said by Krishna to Arjun. But the one which we have is the flashback of Sanjay to Dhritarashtra. Right?
So I have a question over here. But then when a star dies and we see the light of the star billions of years later, we infer from that light that the star was there, it exploded. The light tells us that an event happened. Isn't that the same thing over here?
Same thing,
10 days later is still billions of years later, could be anything. But do we have to go and think that what light that I'm seeing now may not have been what, it may not represent what exactly happened over there? Would that be possible?
Let's put it in another way.
Huh.
Where is, by understanding the light, can I understanding what happened beyond the light? Can I jump into that state which was beyond the light? Before the light came out. Right? Where there was pure sat, pure existence. Pure existence. The existence wanted to express itself, though is light. Where there is light, there is time. Because that light takes time to reach me. Where there's time, there's bondage. But that existence was beyond light, beyond time, freedom. And that freedom is beyond light. So I use the light to understand my state, and I jump to that state which is beyond light.
Oh, correct, sir. But just one more thing. Chalega?
Go ahead.
The only thing that is not said between Krishna and Arjun that Sanjay could not have possibly heard, because it was never said.
What?
The only thing that Sanjay could not have heard and could not have been in the passage of time was the fact that Krishna shows his true self to Arjun. And that only Arjun could have seen. And that transmission in time could not be possible, because he didn't say anything. He was just showing it to Arjun. Everything that Sanjay heard was oral, audio.
No, he could see. He
But
was
he could
given
not see what-
Divya Drashti. No, he expresses that whole what do you call form.
Huh.
He says, I see kings being consumed by you. I see them being born through you. Right? He sees that. Right? He sees that divine form. And then in the last slokas of the Mahabharat, he keeps on recounting that I cannot believe what I have seen. It is beyond me. My hairs are still standing up. I'm in that state of explanation. I'm repeating that what I saw, this dialogue between Krishna and Arjun, and I cannot believe what I've seen. Right? I've seen the most holiest thing in this thing. So he says that in the end, and he recounts the whole form. Everything he recounts, the small details of Krishna's form. Right?
So then that means that what he saw is what happened.
He saw what he saw. He saw what he saw.
There was more to it then.
In a structure of acceptance. Arjun saw what he saw in a structure of acceptance.
Okay.
Krishna revealed whatever he could reveal. Can you understand?
Yes.
But we are seeing what Sanjay saw. We are seeing what? From that we have to surmise that what could be.
Correct.
Beyond. Yeah.
So, does that mean that this is our level of acceptance?
No, I'm not understanding. Talk a little louder.
Going with
Learn
what
to
you're
shout at him. He has what you dominated you all these years. Yeah, you can just shout at him.
I'm going to forget my question.
Yeah. Shout at him. Yeah, shout.
So, what you last said, he saw what he saw, and Krishna revealed himself to Arjun. So Arjun's level and state of acceptance was like that. Hence, the Lord revealed himself to him. So, is our level of acceptance and the way we are, therefore, the divine reveals itself to us the way we are? Is it that?
Then I couldn't get your words in between. Therefore, what? I'm old now. You have to. Yeah, you have to talk to my ears. Yeah.
Stop it.
Don't say what else happens in old age. Don't.
Okay, one, you're not old.
Right.
So, like you said, he saw what he saw, right? Sanjay.
Sanjay, yeah.
Okay. And Arjun saw Krishna in his form. So, does seeing the Lord in his form depend on the state and the acceptance that Arjun was? Does it depend on that?
Definitely.
And the same goes for Sanjay. And does the same go for us too? Is that why we couldn't hear the original and we have to make do with something that Sanjay recounted?
And there are many hidden laws in this.
Ah.
There are many hidden laws in this. The truth to which we can reach is about 2 steps away from the truth.
Is 2 steps away from?
So when you see when Gurdjieff does his cosmic diagram, he takes down consciousness 2 steps.
Okay.
Can you get it?
Yes.
That he's telling you something that,
Yes.
right? What it is only possible for man to reach to here. Right? Those last 2 steps are not possible.
Why?
Because it is not possible for man. It does not come in his. Right? So he has left that as a mystery. Similarly, here we get what Sanjay, it has come down a step. Can you get what I'm trying to say? It has come down a step. So when Gurdjieff makes his cosmic diagram, first he makes it, then he brings it down 1 step.
Okay.
Then he says also this is not true. He brings it down
Another
1 more step.
Yeah.
So actually the absolute which is in his cosmic diagrams is 2 steps lower.
Is that why we need a master to take us up those 2 steps?
No. Only the inner guru can take you those 2 steps. So there's no question of any outside master taking you to those 2 steps. It's not possible, right? But what he's saying, though below those 2 steps is the final step. That is the final step. So when we are see, there's one step from Krishna to Sanjay, and one step from Sanjay to
Us.
us. So there's a deeper law which is being expressed over here.
Yeah.
You get
Yes.
it?
Yes. Yes.
There's a deeper law being expressed. Right? So one day I was sitting with Ramdulare Bapu alone. I said, Bapu, what is the meaning of enlightenment? So he's saying, Dena upla marma be pagathiya vadhare he enlightened. For it took me years to understand it. When I came by Gurdjieff reduced, because man can only reach this state of enlightenment, he cannot reach beyond those 2 steps. Can you get it?
Yes, I do.
So for man, the absolute is the sun. But for the sun, there is another absolute. Can you get it?
Yes.
But in man's state, the absolute is the sun. Similarly, for a cell in the body, the absolute cannot be the sun. The absolute will be the body.
The body. Yes.
Can you get it?
Yes.
So what did he say in Gujarati? I couldn't
Hmm?
What you said in Gujarati? What you said in Gujarati, I couldn't
He
understand.
said, those who have in their top floor of their house 2 extra steps,
Ah,
they are enlightened.
okay.
Yeah.
Krishna had a discussion with Arjun. Why was Sanjay given the opportunity to be able to see the whole thing?
Ved Vyas, the writer of the Mahabharat, he came to Dhritarashtra and said, you are blind, let me give you divine sight so you can see. So Dhritarashtra told him, and Dhritarashtra was his son. See, in biologically, Dhritarashtra was Vyasa's son, right? So he says, I don't want divine sight, you give it to Sanjay. He will recount to me what is happening. So Sanjay is seeing and he is recounting. And it is not the Mahabharata, only the Gita part, the Bhagavad Gita part, only that part, right? But on a mini scale, it tells you everything of the Mahabharata. On a mini scale, it tells you everything.
Somebody being given the opportunity to see and refuses.
Huh?
He's been given the opportunity. He's a blind king and he's been given the opportunity to see. Yet he refuses. What is that within us to deny?
Yeah, so if I tell you I'm willing to break all your attachments this moment, you'll say, no, I'm happy in my attachments. Right?
The blind king Dhritarashtra can't see the wife.
All of us are
Gandhari.
blind kings. All of us are blind kings. Right? And we don't want to give up our attachments. Again, I said, if I tell everybody, give up the personal, how many are going to give it up? Right? Somebody will come here 5 minutes later that this person told this to me. Right? Or I'm not feeling happy over here. Right? So, in the end, to give up the I is a very difficult thing. Very, very difficult thing. I won't give the name. There was one saint who lived nearby over here. He was huge, fat. And he used to speak very, what you call, outspoken. The words he used were very dangerous words he used to use. And one lady came to him, and she was a PhD and professor and all that. So she says, can you give me a technique of instant enlightenment? Now there were about 1,000 people sitting over there. So she's asking, Can you give me a technique of instant enlightenment? I want it in this moment. So he says, you want it in this moment, take off all your clothes and ask the question again. He gave it with one or two MCBCs, everything, right? And then he says, you take. So she just bowed her head. Says, see, you don't want it. You don't want it. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? But that was his way of working. Bolo.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. You have a question?
So, so here in this it says the source of dharma and artha. So there are these four things very famous: dharma, artha, kam, and moksha. So how can these four be understood in Gurdjieff terminologies?
Dharma, artha, kama,
Kam and moksha.
moksha. So moksha is freedom. Artha is my aim. The artha is of two kinds. The main earth of freedom and the what earth I relate in the present moment. Dharma is the pathway towards that artha. And kama is the energy I use to move on the path. Energy I use to move on the path.
The sages replied, tell us that ancient story that was told by the supreme sage Dvaipayan, that which was worshipped by the gods and the Brahmarshis when they heard it.
Right.
And that which is full of wonderful words and divisions and is the supreme of the narratives with subtle meanings and logic adorned with the essence of the Vedas.
So the sages replied, tell us the story, which, what do you call, was told by the supreme sage Dvaipayan, by Vyas, right? But it was recounted at the, what do you call, Janmajay's snake yagna by Vaishampayan, that is Vyas's disciple. The beauty is that amongst the audience, Vyas was there. Amongst the audience, Vyas was there when he recited it. And what is that story? The one which is worshipped by the gods. One which is worshipped by the gods. And the Brahma Rishis, those who have saved their energy to enter into the, what do you call, realm of Brahma, to enter into expanding consciousness, who don't allow their energy to go anywhere else but to move into the expanding consciousness. When they heard it, so he's saying, when people hear this, they turn into a Brahma Rishi. They move on the path of freedom, they move on the path of moksha by just hearing this story, right? Which is full of wonderful words, beautiful words, divisions. This story has so many small stories within it and is the most supreme of narratives. There's a beautiful, what do you call, saying of the Mahabharat. If it is anywhere else, it has to be here. And if it is not here, it cannot be anywhere else. Right? The saying of the Mahabharata. So, whatever knowledge is anywhere else lies in the Mahabharata. And if it is not in the Mahabharata, it cannot be in any other book in the world. It cannot be in any other book in the world. So he's saying that your supreme narrative, this most supreme of all narratives, with subtle meanings. There's meaning within meaning and meaning. Each meaning has different mysteries attached to it. And logic, reasoning. And adorned with the essence of the Vedas. The essence of the Vedas, right?
That sacred history of the Bharatas is beautiful.
That sacred history of the Bharatas. Bharat. was the son of Dushyant and Shakuntala. Son of Dushyant and Shakuntala. And this is his genealogy, which we are going into, the Pandavas and the Kauravas, right? And this name of this country was from Bharat. Bha means light. Bha means light. Rat means where there is light in Rati Rati, in every small grain of soil, in every small grain of atmosphere, in every small grain of our cells, of our skin, there is light. That country is Bharat. Bharat, right? Rati Rati.
The sacred history of the Bharatas is beautiful in language and meaning and includes all other works.
All other Shastras come in the Mahabharat. It is the complete Shastra, right?
All the Shastras add to it, and that sacred composition of great Vyas has been added to the four Vedas.
It has been added to the four Vedas. It is the fifth Veda. It is the fifth Veda. But all the knowledge of the four Vedas lies in the fifth Veda. Fifth Veda.
We wish to hear that holy collection that drives away fear of sin, just as it was recited at King Janmajaya's sacrifice by Vaishampayan.
So tell us exactly the same way that Vaishampayan, the disciple of Vyas, recited it at Janmajaya's, sacrifice. Please tell us in the same way this great story of the Mahabharat. We want to listen to it. We want to listen to it.
Suti said, I bow to the original being Ishan.
Ishan. Ishan is the northeast. Northeast. It is said when in the morning when we look at the northeast, we are looking at Ish. Ish means my presence. Ish means we are invoking our presence. We stand in the northeast and we invoke our presence. Whenever we create a house, wherever we create any room, or we always look at the northeast corner and see that we have a clear northeast corner because presence lies in the northeast corner. Shiv resides in the northeast corner, right? And the northeast corner is controlled by the magnetism of Jupiter. So Jupiter is in the northeast, right? Mr. Tavaria used to say the most powerful place on the earth is Gaumukh, where the Ganga comes out of the glacier over there. And that place is where the vibrations of Jupiter are on the earth. And he says if you can stay there for a week, what you can accomplish elsewhere in a year, you'll accomplish in a week over there. And that is why that place has very powerful vibrations. So northeast is Jupiter, right? So in the morning when we wake up, we look at the northeast, we invoke our presence because our presence comes from the northeast. It is called as Ishan. Ishan.
Adored by all, and to whom all offerings are made.
So he's saying that now I am not saying these things. All this has come from a higher source. I am invoking my presence. Jai, he's saying. I am invoking my presence. He bows down first to the northeast. He bows down to the northeast. He invokes his presence. And he says, this is not mine. What I'm telling you is something which has come from a higher source. I'm just reciting it to you. I'm recounting it to you.
Truth, and without decay.
He is that truth which can never change, which can never decay, which is ever fresh, ever virgin. The present moment is ever fresh, ever virgin, right? But we always spoil it with memory because memory is always stale, right? And we always bring memory to the present and we lose the present.
The manifested and unmanifested Brahman, eternal.
He is the truth without decay, the manifested and unmanifested Brahman, the eternal, right? So that which was before form and that which is after form, right? So our soul has a form. The spirit is beyond form. It is formless, right? So the soul has a form. It comes through a mother, father. The form is filled with blood and bones and it becomes a visible form, right? a form which is visible to the tangible to the five senses. But before that, it was a soul which was not tangible to the senses, but it still had a subtle form, like an architect has a form of a house in his mind, right? That is a subtle form. But when cement and concrete comes into that form, it becomes a gross form. Similarly, the soul is a subtle form, right? But when it comes through mother and father, it becomes a gross form. So he's saying, I bow down to that where there is form, but before the form, there was the formless, the soul and the spirit.
He is both existing and non existing.
He is existing and not existing, right? He's existing, he is there. As a soul, he is there, he has a form, but he does not occupy any time, he does not occupy any space. The body occupies time, the body occupies space, right? So he is in a way existing, but he is also non existing. He is also non existing, right? He is beyond existing.
He is the existing universe, but is distinct from the existing and the non existing.
He is the existing. Out of India, all the religions which came out of India, they were based on two prime, what do you call, facts. One, there is one pole of eternal movement, and there is one pole where nothing changes at all. Everything is eternal and eternal. So here you have continuous movement, and one where there is relationship, and that is the relationship between God and the universe. Right? So there is one pole where nothing is ever changing, and there is another pole where everything is changing every moment. That pole where everything is changing is called as Jagat. It's called as Jagat, where things keep on changing, the world which keeps on changing. And that pole which it never changes is called as Shaswat. Shaswat. So I bow before this Hari, who is the Lord of that which moves and that which does not move, that which is changing and that which is never changing,
The Lord of the senses.
and the Lord of the senses.
I bow before the pure and sinless Vishnu.
Vishnu, the one who penetrates everything, who is in everything, the one which is the penetrating consciousness. Brahma is the expanding consciousness. Vishnu is the penetrating consciousness. Right? And Shiva is the destroying consciousness. Right? So what do you call? Or you can say Shiva is the overflowing consciousness. Right? So I bow before Vishnu, the one who penetrates everything from a stone to human being to a small cell. Everything is penetrated by that Vishnu.
Worthy of worship, and he who is good and goodness.
He is good and goodness. So he first bows down to three. First is Ishan, right? The second is Hari, and the third is Vishnu. He bows down to three, the law of three. Mahabharat. Maybe it was told by it happened at some time. Maybe it was compiled by Vyas. Maybe it was retold by Vyas's disciple Vaishampayan. But by bowing to this law of three, I am telling it to you, it is fresh, virgin, and new in this very moment that we are talking to each other. Huh? It is fresh, virgin, and new in this very moment. Maybe it happened or did not happen, but in this moment, the sensitivity of it is fresh and new. Right?
Just like you are doing with us now.
Huh?
Just like you are doing with us.
No, no. Which is happening between you and me.
And we cannot thank you enough, sir, forever.
We won't go into all that. You can thank your wife. I've come because of her. The Guru's Guru. I always come because of the Guru's Guru. Bolo, bolo. Yeah.
I will describe to you the holy thoughts of that great sage who is venerated in the entire world, Vyas.
Vyas. The two ends of the circle, Vyas, the diameter. At one end, he's a great sage. He's living in the forest with his disciples. And then you see that Bhishma comes to him. There are no children to continue the Kuru. So he leaves that, his disciples, he leaves and he comes back into the world and he gives birth, what do you call, he sows the seed of children. Right? The great sage Vyas. He's from, you cannot catch him from any angle in life. He's what you call totality in every angle of life. He's totality in every angle of life. Right? There's a saying also, okay. Every other shastra in the world, and there are so many shastras in the world, is Vyas's Jhutha. What is it? Yeah, is Vyas's Jhutha. There's a saying that, right? That. So he's saying Vyas, the total human being, the complete human being, in whose horoscope each and every planet is at their, what do you call? Exaltation. In their state of exaltation. Is something which is impossible to find. Right?
Vyas, the performer of wonderful deeds.
Performer of wonderful deeds. I mean, who can compile 18 Puranas, the Vedas, the Upanishads? Who can compile all these things? Right? Vyas.
Some poets have already sung this story before.
And even now, I am not the first recounting after Vaishampayan. Even though I have come from that yagna, I have come to meet you. Someone has already said this before me.
Other poets are teaching that history now.
And this very moment as I am talking to you, there are others like me who are telling this story to others.
In the future, still others will certainly do this on earth.
And this will continue. Right? One day, Mr. Taware and I was sitting in a hotel in Mysore. And it was late in the night and we were talking. And then he came to be talking about Mahakal. What is Mahakal? And he says, what you call the Ramayana, you say it is one Shastra. It is not one Shastra. If you go into Mahakal, Ram has come and gone so many times. So many times Ram has come and so many times Ram has gone. Right? And we are fighting over a small plot of land, calling it Ram's Janmabhoomi. Right? But he says so many times in that Mahakal, in that vast emptiness, he has come and gone so many times. So this has been repeated, and the original story has also been repeated, and the original happening has also been repeated.
Throughout the three worlds, this is a great storehouse of knowledge.
Throughout the three worlds, Bhu Bhuva Swaha, this is the great storehouse of knowledge, the Mahabharata.
Those who are twice born possess it in its detail and compound forms.
Yes, those who are twice born, to understand this, to possess this Shastra, you have to put your ego on the side and take a new birth without ego. Then you will be able to possess this. It will become a part of your blood, it will become a part of your digestive system. Your digestive juices will digest this Shastra, right? And in all its detailed and compound forms, because they're going to be story within story within story, right? So many things are going to come out of this Shastra, and only those who are twice born. If I go to possess it with my ego, I can never possess it. But if I go to possess it without my ego, then it becomes a part of me. And what is a part of me is a part of me. Then it is no longer that Mahabharat. Then it is no longer that Mahabharat.
It is embellished with elegant words and usage, human and divine. It is adorned with myriad meters and loved by the learned.
And loved by the learned. It is said in such different meters. Now, of course, we have no knowledge of the meters. The knowledge of the meters is called as Chand. It's called as Chand, right? It's a deep knowledge you need of the meters, which each meter is trying to say and what it is saying, right? So that, of course, we don't have, but it is in those meters. The original Sanskrit is in those meters, written in those meters. We'll stop over here. I'm getting a little thirsty and all that. Right? Any questions? Anyone else?
Can you talk about Hari a little more? So when we say Hari Om, and you said he's the god which kidnaps, so is there any connection over there?
The meaning of the word Hari Om is peace to all beings. But Mr. Tavaria was very much against using the words Hari and Om together. Right? So he would not allow us to use the words Hari and Om together. Right? Now, to take away means to also cut off my head. The disciple loses his head to the master. That is also the meaning of the word Hari. Right? And the meaning of Om is that which, expresses and dissolves. So he says, two things of this you cannot bring together. Right? So either you use the Hari or you use Om, but don't use both together. Huh? Right. I don't know, there used to be an old bhajankar, Hari Om Sharan. Have you heard of him? Hari Om Sharan. And in one of his bhajans he says, okay, अब मैं हार के आया, मैं और क्या हार आपको पहनाऊं. In one of his bhajans he says, right? So I've cut off my head and come to you. Now what meaning does it have whether I garland you or don't garland you? I've given you the ultimate garland, my ego. My ultimate garland, my ego. Right? So,
Har and necklace being the same.
same. Bolo.
If I had to sit and compose and write all this, I would say all of this for you, Saab.
Let's talk about something else. Right? I have great pride in being my guru's disciple. Let me remain his disciple.
I have great pride in you being my guru.
Let me remain his disciple. We are good friends. And friendship is the highest form of relationship. Highest form of relationship.
One day you were in my office, the Dadar office, many years ago, if you remember. The opposite plaza, I had the office, no?
Right.
So you were in my office, and then when somebody was supposed to pick you up, then or we were going somewhere. I don't remember now. And that was Guru Purnima that day. And so I asked you, Saab, ki, how do I, what do I do on Guru Purnima with you? So you said we are friends and we shake hands. That's all.
In the shaking of hands, sometimes a big transmission happens. So,
That was the day I think we just the day before the GCC camp or the Andheri Gayatri camp that you took, the Chakala mein rakha tha na?
at the church.
At the church.
The church.
To that, I didn't come that day, in fact.
Right. I think Lloyd was there in the church camp. No, Chakala church, you were not there.
No, at that time, Lloyd wasn't there with us.
Lloyd wasn't.
No.
Bolo. Okay. We'll meet at 8:30. Hopefully I won't go to sleep. So come with your questions at 8:30. I won't read away. Huh? Thank you.